Hi, everybody. I wanted to talk to you about what's due this week, and then I also want to talk about your course culminating task, even though I've talked about it to death. I think we still need to talk about it some more. So, you had your thesis statements for your portfolios due yesterday. And I apologize for not being able to be online yesterday. As I posted, I was home with my sick 1-year-old daughter. But she's better now, so I'm trying to get caught up. I'm caught up on my emails, but I am not caught up on my marking. So let's just clarify, and hopefully this was clear enough for you. A reminder that your thesis statement for your portfolio is not the same thing as the thesis statement that you will be creating for for the essay that you choose to write for your portfolio. I know that sounds complicated. I have talked about it before, but what I'd like to do right now is open up the content for your course culminating task and talk about that. Okay, you have to bear with me for a minute. I'm working on a Chromebook that is very fiddly. Okay. So if I click on, let me just see. I think it's on assignment 1. There are all the blog posts. So you should be all done, all of your blog posts now. No more blogging for you. Aren't you happy? So, and remember, my last blog post that I was having you guys do, I wanted you to think about which one provided you with the most insight, and that gave you the focus for your thesis statement. So this is not where I want to be. Oops. I want to be here. Okay. So in the content here, there's a whole bunch of stuff about what different types of portfolios are. And you are not creating a growth portfolio. Yours is more like a showcase portfolio. And as it says here in red, your portfolio will contain a series of writing and media texts wherein you identify, describe, and explain the insights taken from your book when you applied a particular literary theory. Your portfolio will have a thesis that guides each work that you do for it. So I've also put on here what form your portfolio should take. So I don't really care what tool which site you want to use, but I do actually want you to post all of your work on a specific website. So it says here what form will my portfolio take, and then it gives you options. We are not going to use the portfolio tool within D2L. It says you may compile your portfolio using word processing program and submit those documents to your Dropbox. I don't want you doing that. I know there is a Dropbox for each of the assignments, but I want you to put all of your, I'm going to have you post, sorry, let me just clarify. I'm going to have you submit to the Dropbox so that you have them there, but I still want you to publish all of your pieces in a website. So it says you may even want to try using a free website building program to create a digital portfolio and submit the link to the Dropbox. That's what I want you to do. Okay. Now it says also on here you could use post your portfolio on your blog and submit the link to the Dropbox, and you could do that. But I do want it to be something digital, and I want it to be something online so that you can provide links and everything else. So I gave you 4 different tools on here that you could use to build a website. Now, full disclosure, I've only used Weebly and Wix, and they're both great. If you have another tool that you'd like to use, or if you wanted to use Google Sites, that would be fine too. Okay. I'm clicking on the assignment page, and it's doing nothing. Go. I'm working on a bad Chromebook that the trackpad just doesn't seem to be working, so this is kind of annoying. Okay, let's try doing this instead. Okay. right. Okay. And I think, let me just see on here, I've posted even more website options for you. Did I? Probably. Okay. So you've done the thesis part, and hopefully you read this very carefully so that you know that your portfolio will reflect your analysis of the book that you read from a particular theoretical point of view, archetypal, feminist, or post-colonial, through a series of writing media texts. You will need to develop a thesis statement that identifies something significant and interesting about your text that your analysis revealed, right? So, the thesis is for your entire portfolio. So the pieces that you are creating in your portfolio are meant to support your thesis that you're creating. And so I've given you an option. And so I think I have to make a second video. No, I'm okay. So I've given you an exemplar, sort of, to give, well, I have posted an actual exemplar, but I've also given you other examples. So I said, let's say that I am doing a portfolio about Hamlet, and you guys aren't doing that. So my thesis was, when analyzing the play Hamlet from a feminist perspective, it becomes clear that Shakespeare depicts women as subversively strong. Both Gertrude and Ophelia attempt to take charge of their own destinies, even though they are both ultimately unsuccessful. And then, here's my plan. I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to have a personal narrative essay comparing my own experiences as a young woman to trying to assert myself in relationships to the way Ophelia does. I'm going to include a podcast with me and a friend, one of us playing Ophelia, one playing Gertrude, discussing how we attempted to assert our own power. And then I have this whole description of a remix that I would create. Okay? So you didn't have to submit that plan. That can be part of assignment 2, which is coming up next week, I think, where you talk about your portfolio plan. And I've listed also Google Sites as another option on here. So there's an outline for you to fill out and submit for your portfolio plan. And keep in mind, these are what you're going to create. You are going to create an essay, and it's either going to be narrative, persuasive, or argumentative. You're going to do a podcast. It can be audio or video or both. Wait a minute. It would have to be both to be, anyway, you know what I mean? So it could just be audio or it can be audio video. And you have to do a remix, okay? So, you are going to post all 3 of those pieces on a website that you create, like the exemplar that I showed you, which I will repost. And I've got a list here with just a reminder of what all of the features are and stylistic conventions of all of those different texts. So that's all I wanted to say about that. And I'm going to make a second video to talk about what is due in the next week or so.